Peter Racy here from Foundation Expo 88 YouTube, and what a beautiful day it is in June, which would have been around the midpoint of Expo 88 if we were talking about Expo 88, but we're not. We're talking about Chuck Feeney, and we're also going to be doing an apology to Hugh Lunn. So Chuck, this little YouTube is a way of letting you see your Queensland great tribute, and that will be seen as the YouTube unfolds. And where I'm starting this is in front of this beautiful sculpture, not yet fully installed, but it's on the way. And this is actually from the sculpture that was the main Welcome to City sculpture that used to be in Fortitude Valley. It was taken off the streets of Brisbane about 1997, thought to be lost in a hailstorm around 2004, but luckily it wasn't. And it was my work for Expo 88 that led me to discover, in a storage shed in the Brisbane City Council underneath some old tarps, the original fiberglass mould. And now it's been restored forever and a day. That's brass up there. It's a beautiful piece. Colin Blunson was the sculptor. James McCormack was the architect who designed the installation. And James McCormack was one of the main protagonists that saw Brisbane get the World Expo 88. And the Commonwealth Games were one of the main reasons Brisbane was able to get World Expo 88. All interesting history. Brisbane is so much the 3-degree separation of history. Anyway, Chuck, let's move on and have a look at your tribute. This is the setting where the Queensland Great Plaques are located, and what you're looking down there to the left is what's called Celebration Lawn, because the genius of the development of Roma Street was that it solved two problems for the government of the day, the Peter Beattie government of the day. It removed a large area of land from being considered as the home or location of a new stadium for Queensland, which then meant that Suncorp Stadium could be developed into the great sporting stadium that it has now become. And the gardens were developed with an international flavour in mind, but with a very Pacific Queensland bent. So right from the start, that lawn, called Celebration Lawn, was there to celebrate Queensland Day, June 6th. And so Chuck, this is your award, and you're really in great company. As you'll see in a minute, I'll just run along so that you can see who else has been awarded the Queensland Great Award in 2019. Distinguished Professor Judith Clements, Sloan, Kay McGrath, Patricia O'Connor, and then community-wise there is the Queensland Country Women's Association. That's where the 2019 ones have ended up. And some others that you may know: 2007 Ashley Cooper, are the earlier years going back to 2001. A real significant snapshot of Queensland history, which you are now a part of. And now I found the one that I was actually looking for, which was to Rod Laver in 2005. So Chuck, in conclusion, this is the master sign which tells visitors from all over the world about the Queensland Great Awards. And at this point I should now just want to introduce the next little bit of section, because you're now going to hear a little bit about the Brisbane Tennis Trail. And in the first instance, I'm just going to play you this little clip of where I was when I recorded the interview. Have a look. And Priscilla, I'm at Gayndah, famous for mandarins and oranges. Catch you later. I was at Gayndah, and the apology I've got to give is to Hugh and yourself, Chuck, in effect, because I had been driving from Kingaroy to Billawheeler and heard on the radio the promotion for the tennis history that was coming up. As it happens, I was beginning to run out of fuel, but had enough to get to Gayndah. And I forgot to mention in the Brisbane Tennis Trail Ken Fletcher, and that's really inexcusable in a way.
Gregory is a Queensland historian, joins you at about this time every Sunday to go through an element of Queensland's history in some depth. And it's a sport today, Helen.
Yes, it is, Emma. And if it doesn't rain... Good.
Peter's called in. Now, Peter, you're the convener of the Brisbane Tennis Trail. What is that?
It's the Brisbane Tennis Trail. It's a unique tourist attraction, in actual fact, for Brisbane, and the likes of Rod Laver, Roy Emerson, Jimmy Shepherd, Mel Anderson, John Millman, as it happens, Daphne Fancourt, Wendy Turnbull, Faye Joy, and Faye Muller. And besides John Millman, they are all well into their 70s and 80s. And I can tell you now that the character of the individual formed during their earlier tennis years is still evident today. They are just a wonderful group of people who've lent their name, in effect, to the Brisbane Tennis Trail, and people can Google that. It's a formal Brisbane City Council webpage.
Right, and so you can sign up to go on the tennis trail.
If you're a really fit person, yes, because it is actually the naming of rebound walls, amphitheatres, but all over the city.
I see. Okay, where people have been honoured. Yeah?
Yes, but where they've, in their youth, played tennis, like Jimmy Shepherd and Rod Laver. Jimmy Shepherd's parents hosted Rod Laver down from Rockhampton, and Jimmy Shepherd was born and bred in Maruka, and the Jimmy Shepherd rebound wall is at Maruka. The Rod Laver overpass is at Tennyson, about 300 yards from one to the other.
Wow.
So it's all over the city. So yes, you could walk it, but you'd want to be fit.
Right. You can bounce a ball along it as well. Peter, fantastic to hear from you. Dorothy's also called.